If people think they understand you, you've already lost. Because here's the brutal truth. The more available you are, the less respect you get. The world uses you, drains you, and then throws you away. But there's a way to flip the game. A secret used by kings, rulers, and power players for centuries. If you master it, people will chase you, obsess over you, and fear losing you. This is Machiavelli's most dangerous lesson. Stay with me, because once you understand this, you'll never be seen the same again. Power dies the moment it becomes common. Read that again. The world doesn't respect the man who is always available, always present, always reachable. It uses him, consumes him, and then throws him aside. Machiavelli understood a brutal truth. What is common is cheap. What is rare is feared. Gold is valuable because it's scarce. Power works the same way. The less people have of you, the more they want you, and the more they fear losing you. The kings of old understood this perfectly. They didn't sit among the crowd. They didn't walk the streets like everyone else. They appeared rarely, like an eclipse, and when they did, the entire kingdom stopped, stared, and trembled. The less you reveal, the more they imagine. And imagination is always more dangerous than reality. Scarcity isn't weakness, it's strategy. Here's the truth no one tells you. When you limit access to yourself, you create hunger. When you withdraw, people chase you. When you control your presence, your absence becomes a weapon. Stop trying to be liked. Stop making yourself too easy to reach. Stop giving your energy away to everyone. Machiavelli's formula is simple. Appear less, demand more, and watch the world treat you like a prize instead of a pawn. Because here's the reality. If you are always available, you are worth nothing. But if you are rare, you become untouchable. This is where true power begins. Scarcity does more than protect your value. It creates an aura, an invisible force that changes people's behavior. When they can't easily reach you, they stop taking you for granted. When they can't predict you, they obsess over you. And when they can't control you, they start to respect you. Sometimes they even fear you. This aura isn't mystical. It's practical psychology, used by kings, rulers, and power players for centuries. But here's the danger. Power built on perception still requires real strength to back it up. If you act scarce but you're weak, people will eventually see through you. But if you are scarce and strong, your legend becomes unshakable. Machiavelli warned against complacency. Never start believing your own myth. Scarcity alone won't save you. You must back it with power. The ultimate goal is balance. Be visible enough to remind them you exist, but rare enough that they crave your presence. Be approachable enough to avoid hatred, but distant enough to avoid contempt. This tension, not too close, not too far, is where true authority lives. Those who master scarcity don't just hold power, they radiate it. They walk into a room and everyone feels it, because everyone has been waiting for it. Your absence speaks louder than your words. Your presence seals the impression. Important, untouchable, dangerous to cross, the art of scarcity. Done right, it doesn't just make you respected. It makes you feared. And more importantly, it makes you needed. Human beings are irrational when it comes to value. We rarely judge something for what it truly is. We judge it by how hard it is to get. Machiavelli understood this flaw in human nature, and he turned it into a weapon. His lesson was clear. Men esteem lightly what is easily acquired. If you want to raise your worth in the eyes of others, you must first make yourself rare. Why do people worship gold? It's not because gold is magically useful. Most of its uses were discovered long after it became precious. People worship it because it is scarce. Now, apply the same principle to yourself. When you are everywhere, when you are always available, when anyone can reach you at any time, your value collapses. But when you limit yourself, when you ration your presence like a king who opens his gates only for the worthy, people suddenly see you as priceless. Scarcity creates tension. When people can't have you on demand, they start wondering, what are you doing? Who are you meeting? What plans are you hiding? Their imagination magnifies your power. The less they see, the more they assume. A ruler who hides his movements seems omnipotent. A man who doesn't answer every call seems busy, important, untouchable. But modern life teaches the opposite. To be constantly connected, constantly responsive, constantly available. And yet, constant availability kills power, because predictability is death to influence. When people can map your every move, they stop fearing you. They stop valuing you. You become like water flowing through open streets. Useful but ordinary. Machiavelli studied princes and tyrants who used absence as a weapon. They would disappear from court for weeks, making nobles nervous. They would delay decisions, forcing their subjects to beg for action. They would restrict access so tightly that every audience with them became a rare privilege. Even those who hated them feared being excluded. Scarcity breeds desire, but more importantly, it breeds dependence. Think about your own life. The colleague who's always free for lunch and gets overlooked. The friend who always says yes gets taken for granted. The lover who's constantly available loses their allure. Human nature is cruel. We don't respect what we can easily have. But when someone or something is hard to obtain, we instinctively assume it must be valuable. This is the psychology of scarcity. It works because people are wired to chase what retreats and ignore what approaches. Show them everything, and they'll grow bored. Hide yourself, and they'll stay awake at night, trying to figure you out. Machiavelli's first lesson is simple but merciless. To seem powerful, you must become scarce, not by vanishing entirely, but by appearing on your own terms, at your chosen time. Like a sovereign stepping into his throne room. If people expect you to always answer, you're a servant. But if they wait for your word, you're a master. Scarcity is not passive. It is not weakness. It is a deliberate strategy, a controlled silence that forces the world to make the first move. And when you finally speak, every word carries weight. When you finally appear, every gesture feels meaningful. This is how leaders, warriors, and cunning men throughout history have made themselves larger than life. By refusing to be common. Scarcity is not an accident. It is a weapon, one you must wield deliberately. Machiavelli's brilliance lay in turning human weakness into strategy. He understood that if people instinctively value what is rare, then you must guard your presence like a miser guards his gold. This isn't about hiding. It's about appearing on your own terms, so that every appearance carries weight. Here is Machiavelli's formula for weaponizing scarcity. Step 1. Withdraw from the crowd deliberately. Stop being constantly visible. Stop being constantly reachable. Don't attend every event. Don't answer every call. Don't respond to every request. Distance creates mystery. Your silence forces them to wonder. What are you doing? Who are you meeting? Why don't you need them anymore? That uncertainty builds power. Step 2. Control access to yourself. A king doesn't open his gates for everyone. Neither should you. Decide carefully who gets to reach you. And make it clear, even without words, that your time is not free. When access is limited, people treat it like a privilege. They will approach you with caution, with respect, even with fear, because they know you can shut the door. Step 3. Appear selectively and with purpose. When you step back into view, do it at moments that benefit you. Make your presence feel intentional, not accidental. If you are scarce, even a small gesture, a single meeting, a single comment, will carry the weight of a command. People will hang on every word, because they don't hear from you often. And that is how you transform yourself from ordinary to untouchable, from seen to feared, from common to legendary. Step 4. Turn absence into intrigue, not neglect. Scarcity does not mean disappearing completely. If you vanish for too long, people may forget you. The goal is balance. Give just enough of yourself to keep their attention, but never enough to satisfy it. When people miss you, they value you more. When they wonder about you, they respect you more. Your mystery becomes your magnet. Step 4. Turn absence into intrigue, not neglect. Scarcity does not mean disappearing completely. If you vanish for too long, people may forget you. The goal is balance. Give just enough of yourself to keep their attention, but never enough to satisfy it. When people miss you, they value you more. When they wonder about you, they respect you more. Your mystery becomes your magnet. Step 5. Use scarcity to shape perception. By carefully rationing your presence, you control how others see you. If you're always around, they start noticing your flaws. But if you are rarely available, they only see the image you choose to project. You can present yourself as confident, powerful, even untouchable, and they will believe it simply because they lack evidence to contradict it. Machiavelli observed this strategy in Renaissance courts. Rulers rarely appeared in public. They revealed themselves only when decisions had to be made, and always on their terms. Ambassadors and nobles would wait for weeks just to be granted a single audience. That deliberate delay sent one silent but undeniable message. I decide when you see me, not you. The modern application, make scarcity your weapon. You can use the same formula today. In business, be the person whose time is valuable. In relationships, be the one who is pursued, not the one who chases. In every arena of life, let your absence speak louder than your words. Scarcity shifts the power toward you because it forces others to play your game. They must adjust to your schedule, your availability, your rules. They compete for your attention instead of you competing for theirs. And when they finally do meet you, your presence feels magnetic, almost addictive. You've trained them to believe it matters. Machiavelli's formula is ruthless but simple. Appear less. Demand more. Make them wait. Make them wonder. Make them work. Do this consistently, and you will transform your value in the eyes of everyone around you. Scarcity makes you valuable. But if you want power, you must take it a step further. You must make people move toward you. The powerful do not pursue. They attract. The art of attraction, make them chase you. Machiavelli understood this deeply. A prince who chases his subjects loses authority, but a prince who forces his subjects to chase him becomes a ruler in both title and truth. So how do you make people pursue you, and willingly, even desperately? 1. Use delay as a weapon. When someone seeks your time, don't give it immediately. Make them wait. Delay doesn't weaken you, it weakens them. The longer they wait, the more they begin to doubt where they stand with you. That uncertainty eats at them, and soon, they'll chase harder to restore balance. 2. Create controlled unpredictability. Predictable people are easy to dismiss. If others always know where you are when you're available and how you'll respond, they stop paying attention. But when they can't quite pin you down, when they're unsure of your next move, you keep them alert, engaged, and slightly off balance. Controlled unpredictability makes people afraid to lose you and eager to please you. 3. Reward selectively. When you finally grant access, make it feel earned. Acknowledge those who wait patiently or prove themselves useful, but never reward everyone equally. When your approval is rare, people will compete for it. If you give it freely, its value drops to 0. Force move silence to create hunger. You don't always have to answer. You don't always have to explain. Sometimes your silence speaks louder than any words could. When you refuse to react immediately, people begin projecting their own fears and desires onto you. They imagine what you're thinking, what you might do, and they chase your approval just to quiet their doubts. 5. Appear powerful when you do appear. If you've been scarce, every appearance matters. Do not waste it on meaningless gestures. When you speak, do so with purpose. When you act, act decisively. People will magnify your every word, and because they rarely hear from you. Make your presence feel like a favor. When people believe your attention is rare, they become addicted to it. The psychology behind it. Machiavelli understood that people are slaves to uncertainty. When they're unsure where they stand with you, they move closer. When they're unsure if they've pleased you, they work harder to do so. When they fear losing you, they chase you even more. This is why you must never chase. The moment you do, you reverse the power dynamic. You signal that you need them more than they need you. And from that moment forward, they will treat you accordingly. Look at rulers, CEOs, generals, and anyone who commands loyalty. They don't give away their time freely. Their attention is measured. Their approval is rare. Their silence is terrifying. People go to extreme lengths just to remain in their good graces. And you can do the same in your own life. Final lesson. In business, don't sell yourself. Make others prove they deserve your partnership. In relationships, don't chase approval. Make them work for your attention. Control your presence. Control your scarcity, and you will control the game. In relationships, never beg for affection. Do not plead for love. Do not compete for attention. Instead, let others compete for your presence. In every interaction, project one silent truth. Your time is scarce, your attention is precious, your favor is earned, never given. When people chase you, they invest in you. And the more they invest, the more they fear losing you. This is Machiavelli's deeper lesson. Scarcity does more than raise your value. It binds people to you. They will protect you, obey you, even worship you, simply because they cannot bear the thought of your absence. The hidden weakness of constant availability. If scarcity gives you power, constant accessibility destroys it. Nothing erodes authority faster than being too easy to reach, too predictable, too familiar. Machiavelli saw this centuries ago. In royal courts and palaces, rulers understood one eternal truth. Familiarity breeds contempt. The more people see you, the less they fear you. The more they can reach you, the less they respect you. The more available you are, the more ordinary you become. Availability creates equality, and equality is poison to power. A prince who mingles too freely with his subjects stops feeling like a prince. A commander who spends too much time among soldiers is treated like a friend, not a leader. A man who always picks up the phone teaches others that his time belongs to them. You become part of their routine, not an authority figure, not a mystery, not a leader, just another piece of furniture. The strategy of the great rulers. History's most powerful leaders understood this game. They lived behind walls, their appearances rare and deliberate. If you wished to see them, you had to beg for an audience, sometimes waiting weeks for a single meeting. This wasn't arrogance, it was strategy. By limiting access, they inflated their own value. People respect what they cannot casually approach. Now contrast that with the man who is always present. His words carry no weight. His absence is not felt. His return brings no excitement. He becomes background noise, forgettable, replaceable, ordinary. Even his generosity loses value because it becomes expected, not earned. The price of being too available. When you make yourself too accessible, you invite exploitation. People will take your time, your energy, your loyalty, and give nothing back because you've trained them to believe your supply is endless. Worse, constant availability exposes your flaws. When people see you too often, they notice your mistakes, your doubts, your humanity. Your mystique fades. What was once impressive becomes ordinary, even disappointing. Machiavelli's unforgiving law: power is built on perception, not just reality. A leader who appears rarely controls his image. A leader who is always present loses control of how others see him. This principle goes beyond politics. It shapes business, relationships, and social influence. In business, the entrepreneur who attends every meeting is treated like an employee. The executive who answers every email instantly is assumed to have nothing better to do. In relationships, the person who is always available is quickly taken for granted, while the one who is hard to reach becomes instinctively pursued. Human nature doesn't change. What is abundant is ignored. What is rare is desired. The illusion of loyalty. You might think constant presence builds loyalty, but in truth it destroys it. No matter how skilled, intelligent, or resourceful you are, if you give unlimited access to yourself, you teach people to see you as replaceable. Machiavelli's wisdom was ruthless because it was true. He advised rulers to control not just their actions, but their visibility. By appearing rarely, they seemed busier, more important, more dangerous. By withholding themselves, they created a vacuum, and power always flows toward the vacuum. People feared being left out, they fought for favor. Every appearance became a privilege. Every word carried weight. The modern lesson: master scarcity. If you wish to hold power in your career, your relationships, your social circle, you must resist the temptation to always be available, to always answer, to always show up. Availability feels like strength. In reality, it kills authority. It erases mystique. It hands control of your time and energy to others. The solution is not arrogance, it is discipline. Appear less. Speak less. Offer less. Make your presence noticed, not expected. When you vanish, they should feel it like oxygen leaving the room. When you return, it should feel like a privilege. The final secret of power. Power comes in two forms: the kind people can measure, and the kind they can only feel. Scarcity builds the second kind, the invisible, magnetic kind. It's not about what you own, what you say, or even what you do. It's about what people believe you could do, but choose not to. When you deliberately limit your presence, you create an aura of hidden depth. People begin to wonder. They start to imagine, and in that imagination, they make you larger than life. That is the true power Machiavelli understood. Assume you're busy with greater plans. Always project the image of someone consumed by bigger visions, greater alliances, and moves too strategic to reveal. Let them wonder where you are, who you're meeting, and what you're planning. Their fear of being left out will do more for your reputation than any speech or display of strength ever could. This is where scarcity becomes truly dangerous. It transforms speculation into loyalty and anxiety into obedience. People begin to chase you not because you command them, but because they cannot stand not knowing where you stand. 1. Scarcity makes your silence deafening. When you speak rarely, every word lands with weight. A short comment feels like a decree. A pause feels like a test. A glance feels like a message. People lean in, dissecting your tone, your timing, your expressions. They invent strategies and depths where none may exist, and this works entirely in your favor. 2. Scarcity magnifies your presence. When you finally appear, the contrast is striking. Your arrival feels like an event. Your approval feels like a gift. Your gestures feel significant. Your presence feels magnetic. A king does not walk the streets daily, but when he steps onto the balcony, the crowd gathers. 3. Scarcity makes others protect your reputation. Those who wait for your attention will defend you fiercely. They want to prove they deserve your favor, so they silence critics on your behalf. They become invested in protecting your image because they see their access to you as a reflection of their own status. Without asking, you turn followers into guardians. 4. Scarcity turns absence into pressure. When you're not easily available, people start to wonder, where are you? Who are you meeting? What are you plotting? Their minds fill in the blanks, often imagining you more powerful than you actually are. They assume you have better options. They fear being replaced. This fear drives them to chase harder, obey faster, and value you more. The core principle: make them chase you. Power never comes from chasing people. It comes from making people chase you. Scarcity isn't just a tactic, and it's an identity. The moment you stop throwing yourself at every opportunity, every person, every request, your value rises. When your presence is controlled, your time disciplined, and your words measured, people stop taking you for granted. They notice when you speak. They notice when you disappear. And they notice when you choose to return. Scarcity reverses the power dynamic. Scarcity makes others depend on you. When they need you more than you need them, the entire balance shifts. You no longer have to prove yourself. They start proving themselves to you. You no longer chase power. Power starts chasing you. Scarcity creates an aura. True scarcity doesn't just protect your value, it creates a legend. People start imagining you as larger than life. When you're silent, they wonder what you're planning. When you're distant, they fear losing your favor. When you speak, they treat every word as calculated and deliberate. In their minds, you stop being just a person. You become a presence, a dangerous presence. Your silence becomes deafening. Your absence feels heavy. Your approval becomes rare and therefore priceless. People begin defending your name in rooms you've never entered. Not out of pure loyalty, but out of fear. Fear of losing access to you. The discipline behind the power. Do not be fooled. This isn't magic, it's discipline. Anyone can flood the world with their attention. Few have the strength to withhold it. Scarcity demands restraint. Resisting the urge to over-explain. Resisting the urge to over-give. Resisting the urge to over-appear. The weak beg to be seen. The strong force the world to notice their absence. Scarcity has a cost, back it with strength. But make no mistake, scarcity without substance is hollow. If you appear scarce but have nothing to offer, people will eventually see through you. However, if you are scarce and strong, if your skills, influence, and resources are real, then your legend grows every time you say nothing. This is Machiavelli's formula. It isn't polite.